Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're here at J&K Security Solutions in their model smart home, and we're going to talk a little bit about home audio and some of the advancements that have been made in installing home audio in your home. And here to talk more about that is the head of the smart home division, Bill Topel. Is it fair to call you head?
I suppose.
For this show, you are.
I am, yes.
For this show, you are. Bill, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm just excited because I love gadgets and toys and things like that, but let's talk a little bit about distributed audio. This is something that's it's relatively new, but really not that new. Can you talk to us a little bit about what distributed audio is?
It's not relatively new, but it's kind of the way it's progressing and changing, and the way homes are kind of coming with these sort of solutions in them right out the gate is evolving to where it's just expected now. The simplest explanation of distributed audio is speakers that are built in throughout the house that people can listen to audio in multiple rooms.
Sure, a central speaker system.
Yep, exactly, and typically they're built in walls or in ceilings. It sort of depends on the height of the ceiling, the finish, how the end user wants to use it. If you're looking to work with a designer or an architect that has some sort of specifications that you have to follow, a couple of things to follow.
Yeah, you look at larger homes that have been built within the last 10 years or so. A lot of them have that just kind of built in. But we'll touch on this later on in the interview. But there's a way that you can sort of retrofit your home for that. So
yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Well, really that you made is that it's sort of becoming the norm, like the expectation that you're going to have these components to your home. Excuse me, this technology component is just sort of expected these days, and maybe that's something that you notice more so when you have an older home, that the technology just isn't quite up to par. So let's talk a little bit about distributed audio types for folks who aren't familiar with kind of the different ways you can utilize it.
Sure. What we've really been seeing over the last couple of years are primarily two kinds of systems. One would be a single source, multiple zone system. In one of those, you would have speakers throughout the home, and when I talk about a zone of audio, I'm referring specifically to a room. So a kitchen would be a zone, a patio would be a zone. You would have built-in speakers. The wiring would run to a centralized amplifier. The amplifier would have one source play throughout the house, and you would go turn those zones on and off through a rotary-style volume controller, something that would probably typically be locally in the room there in the wall, much like a light switch. Pretty basic, pretty easy to do, straightforward. It does narrow your options as what you can have because that one source is playing simultaneously throughout all the rooms. A little more of a sophisticated style, and we're seeing a lot of these now, are something called a multiple source, multiple zone amplifier. And that's kind of what I have here on the bottom here. So this
we need to talk about our toys here.
Yeah, so this would be what's called a 4x4. So this has four audio inputs to four zone outputs. And with one of these, you take away those rotary style volume controls. Everything's done through an electronic interface, a touch screen, a phone, or a tablet. I could be listening to my music in the kitchen, and you could be listening to yours outside, and we have our own independent streams going on. You could turn your volume up, and I could turn my volume down, completely separate of one another. Maybe we're having a party. Now all of a sudden we can hit a button and we join all the zones together, so maybe they're playing everything throughout the house in what's usually called like a party mode. So a little more options and flexibility with those.
So with single source, multiple zones, you're sort of limited because it can only be it's either on or off, or the volume. You can adjust the volume within each zone, but it's essentially going to be the same music or the same sound source.
It will be the same. So if you're listening to Pandora and that's what you're listening to as your source, that will be playing through all the zones throughout the house. You can turn them off through that volume control that's in the wall, or turn the volume down versus another room, but that will be playing the entire time.
With multiple zones, you can actually, and you guys have the capability of doing this, you can actually listen to different things. So what's happening in the kitchen can be different from what's being heard on the patio.
And really quick follow-up question. You mentioned that single zone is easy to use. How about multiple zone? I mean, is it challenging? I see lots of plugins that scare me.
No, not at all. You as the end user don't see any of these plugins. Everything will be a nice, friendly, easy to use interface on a tablet or a phone, something like that, where you would go, you would have kitchen, and you would hit the box, and it would check it, and you would hit done, and it would start playing in that one.
So more capability doesn't mean more complicated for the
Not
user.
at all. It's actually it's very simple to use. Very simple to use.
Nice.
How do people typically zone their homes? I mean, I'm assuming that's probably a decision in and of itself to figure out, okay, what zone, where do I want the zone boundaries to be?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that's usually whenever we're making that determination, we have our opinions, and then we have to meet with a customer or a builder, the end user, and get really their opinion. Typically, there's 4 ones that are the most popular in any home, and in order, the number 1 is the kitchen. Large congregating area. You're having parties. That's where the food.
It's become the gathering place.
It's where the food and drinks are.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
why would you not want it to be there?
Yeah.
The second one would be an outdoor patio or a
sure.
deck or something like that. Summertime, right now, perfect to be outside grilling. You want to have music outside.
Absolutely, yeah.
And believe it or not, the third most popular is the master bathroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're getting ready in the morning.
Okay,
Some
that
people
makes
take
sense.
longer than others.
Yeah.
You don't want to just sit there in awkward silence the whole time.
Right.
Sure.
Fire up your music and listen to your music in the morning. And some of these systems actually have the capability where you can set alarms or schedules where the music will maybe just start automatically playing at like 6 o'clock.
In a particular zone.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we could program a system like the master bathroom where you'd want to listen to your Pandora station, and we have that start playing at 7 o'clock in the morning. You always get up at 7. That's when you want it to start playing, and you always leave at 8:30. Maybe it can turn itself off at 8:30 automatically.
That sounds like a really fun alarm system.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get in there. That's my jam.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's the incentive to get in there
That's
for sure.
right.
And the fourth one would be usually like a lower level rec room or something like that. And after that, it's kind of really end user specific as to what they want.
Yeah.
So before we go, let's quick talk about source selection and what that basically means.
So sources are how people play it. Most people play it through a Pandora, Spotify, which is on a tablet or a phone, AirPlay. Use various inputs like a Sonos Connect, which can be an input into an existing amplifier. Most people have that. The days of a CD player is something you plug physically into something or
Right. CDs are ancient.
they're done.
Right? Yeah.
Obsolete. Yeah, and I think it's important for viewers to know also that this can, if they live in an older home or a home that has not, doesn't have a system like this built in, this can easily be retrofit into their home. And technology is so wireless nowadays, it's really non-invasive. It's not like you got to plug a bunch of holes into the walls.
Exactly. There's a product out there right now that's really dominating the market called Sonos. Sonos is a wonderful option. It's a wireless speakers throughout the room. They come in different sizes based on the size of the room, and all they do is they require power. Plug it into an outlet, sync it up to your Wi-Fi, get out your phone, play straight to it. Join them all together, have that party mode like we talked about.
And you guys can show people how to do that, how to get them going on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Really easy to do.
Really great place here at J&K Security Solutions Model Smart Home. Bill Topel, thank you so much for
Bill.
talking to
Thanks
us.
for coming in.
And that's all the time we have for Wisconsin Family. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world.